Hi. A film I caught recently on Netflix that was on a subject I thought was interesting was Disclosure. It's a documentary about the depictions of trans people in television and cinema throughout the ages. And it's narrated and presented by a whole range of trans men and trans women who work in the film and TV industry, almost overwhelmingly actors. Um, It's a very interesting film. It's obviously a very something of a hot button subject these days. But being walked through the whole history of uh, the way trans people have been portrayed on screen, I found extremely interesting and extremely thought provoking. Um, that for so many years they were regarded as subject of humor, a way of emasculating men or humiliating women. And it is only more recently that they have become more accepted on screen and more respected for who they are and living their lives publicly. Um, there was a lot that I was not aware of, and actually, and also that I'd never connected to before, such as it's mentioned how the hyper feminine, I think the terms used, the hyper feminine appearance of people such as Kim Kardashian is based on the choices made by their makeup artists and their stylists, who are often gay and who um, are part of the subculture in which um, drag or trans people are very common, and that so the for want of a better word, performative nature of the gender expression of some trans people ends up being reflected back in mainstream culture through these sort of series of filters, um, which I found very thoughtful and quite an interesting concept that trans people have had a much greater impact on culture than we're aware of, even while we were denying that they were even that significant. And even something that I was aware of the TV series Dirty Sexy Money, which was, I think, the first major TV series to have a trans, an openly transgender person, a trans woman, um, in a major role, playing a trans woman. Um, for her first line in the series, her voice was deepened, something that I wasn't aware of and didn't really register at the time, although it was 10 years ago or so. So I don't remember very well. But this film as a whole, I found very interesting, very intelligent, very thought provoking, fairly loosely structured, and perhaps not tremendously innovative in its presentation. But the point is to let the people do the talking, to let the material do the talking, to not bother about flashy, complicated presentation, but instead just to slowly roll out the stories and the lives of these people, and not to try and overwhelm you with tricks, just to let you respond. And as a result, I think it's a very fine piece of work. Very digestible seems like it's the wrong term, but there's nothing there that should shock anyone. I think. I mean, in terms of this is, it's only now that trans people are being generally accepted in society. I think certainly the first time in my lifetime. So there's nothing I think that might put people off who are at the very least open to hearing about lives other than their own.